Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to add those next two files, that book 1 and book 2. So let's go ahead and look at our files again. We have book 1, book 2, book 3, and new. And we do get status. We're going to see that book 2 and book 3 are still untracked. And we do our get log. That's going to show us our two commits. We have our initial commit, and then we have our added book 1 commit. And they're always going to be on top of each other, unless you do some funky setting otherwise, but the most recent commit is going to be up here. And just to prove this to you as well, let's go ahead and do .get refs heads master. That's going to show us what our head currently points to. Notice that this is the exact same as up here. So it's going to point to this commit. This is what we're going to link onto, this commit. So let's clear this out and go ahead and do that. So remember, we're going to add this file first to our outbox. We want to do get add book 2. And actually, I'm going to leave book 3 for now. We don't even really want to leave it. Let's say we're really unsure of if it's ready to be sent to the publisher. So we do get status, and we're going to see, okay, all right, look, we've got book 1 there and whatnot. And book 2, I'm sorry, book 2 is added and book 3 is still sitting there. But let's make this even more complicated. Let's say we want to change book 1. There's something in book 1 that, we're like, ugh, there was a typo we found, or we want to change a name. So let's go ahead and change that. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up book 1 here. Oh, I got to use proper spelling here. There it is. Okay. So let's say, oh, I forgot to add in the beginning, I have to say, the title is book 1. Let's say I didn't add that. Right? So I have to do that. So I'm going to just Control S to save it. And now when I do get status, it's going to say, hey, we have a new file, book 1, and then we also have a modification to, new file, book 2. We have a modification, book 1 here. Now, it also says this change is not staged for commit. We have not told Git this change should go in my outbox. I want to mail this change to the publisher. We could have changed something and we're just tinkering around. We're just seeing if it works. We don't necessarily want to tell our publisher that we changed it yet. But in this case, we're going to say, yes, we like this change, so I want to add book 1 to our mailbox. So now when I do get status, let's just clear so we can make this nice and easy for you guys. I'm going to see, okay, a modification to book 1 was made. That's in our mailbox. And a new file, book 2, was put in there. These two things are in our mailbox. Book 3, we're not done with. It's still a work in progress. We don't want to screw around with it yet. We don't want to even know. We don't even want to let her know, the publisher. We don't want to let the publisher know that we even created it. So we just have those two files. So now I'm just going to do get commit m. I'm going to say added book 2, changed title to book 1. All right, because that's what it did. Nice, good description there. Now, here we go. Okay. 2 files were changed, 71 insertions were made, which says 71 new lines were put into there, and the create book 2, that was added. So now there's a book 2 in there. So now when I do get status, notice that my mailbox, my staging index, doesn't show up anymore. Notice the difference between these two get statuses of my mailbox has been emptied. There's nothing in there. And all it's saying now is, hey, there's still this book 3 in here that we don't know anything about. What is that? It's untracked. What do you want us to do? So that's what we want. Again, let's jump out of the development environment, go back to the slides, and visually understand what just happened. Okay, so what did we just do? We have the publisher, the outbox, and the writer's desk, which we know now are the repository, the staging index, and the working directory. We still remember that an add, we add it to our mailbox, and we commit it to the publisher. So we already have a commit up there. Remember, we already committed book 1 to the publisher. The publisher has a copy of our original book 1. Down in our writer's desk, we have book 1, and we're going to add that. We added that to the outbox because we modified it. That was our modification that we made. Then we have book 2 and book 3. Now these were files that Git did not know about. These were new files. So we said, okay, we're going to add book 2. And we didn't want to add book 3. We said, we're still not finished yet. So after we added book 1 and we added book 2, one was a modification and one was a whole new file. Then we said commit. Now once we said commit, it packaged those files up and it sent it to the publisher. So now the publisher has 2 commits. Now that first commit it has is locked into history. We cannot change it. No matter what we do, we cannot change it. Again, we're going to discuss that more. And remember, we can see these packages. We can have the publisher tell us and show us what's inside of these packages, but we can't change what's inside of these packages. We can just see it and then add a updated package maybe and say, look at this package instead. Now also remember, book 1 is in that second package and in the first one, but we added a modification to book 1 in our second package. So book 1 now, the publisher, thinks that book 1 is the most updated copy of book 1 that it has, and that's in the second package. So it's looking at our second book 1 that has the title on top of it. So it's always going to think that the most updated copy of book 1 and that the real copy is the last most recent updated copy that we've sent it.